Coming up today, we're harvesting our potatoes. We've got a couple of different varieties. We're going to see which did the best. And we'll be harvesting some of our shallots we planted early this spring. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored in part by, for all your non-GMO, organic and heirloom vegetable, flowers, and herb seeds, visit DollarSeed.com. Hsu Growing Supply, located in Wausau, Wisconsin, focusing on certified leaf compost, an excellent amendment for poor soil, retains moisture and adds nutrients, which equals less watering. Available in labor-saver, pre-filled trays and pots, bag and bulk. Visit HsuCompost.com. Organic fertilizer for the health-conscious organic home gardener. Family owned and operated. Visit WiGardens.com. Don't poison your soil with municipal water. Attach a body, mind, and soil hose filter. Free shipping exclusively through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Just click on the body, mind, and soil icon. Authentic Haven brand soil conditioner for the home gardener. Easy to brew. Visit ManureTea.com. No measuring, no thinking. Stamp it, plant it, stop plotting, start planting. GardenStamp.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. It's time to start harvesting our potatoes that we planted way back in late April, early May. Potatoes take between 50 and 150 days to reach maturity based on the variety that you've planted. We've got several different varieties that we've gotten from Wood Prairie Farms, a specialty potato farm in the upper regions of Maine. You'll know when the potatoes are ready to harvest because the stems begin to die back. It can be quite dramatic and concerning, but that's the way the plant indicates to you that it's time to harvest. You get this plant that looks like it's dead, and that's what it is. Also, potatoes won't grow when temperatures of the soil reaches in excess of 85 to 90 degrees. Potatoes, these type of potatoes, are cool weather crop. They do need some warmth in the soil, but they don't need it to be 100 and 115 degrees type of temperature. Sweet potatoes, that's another story for another time. You will also notice on some varieties, you'll see berries hanging from the top of the potatoes. These are not edible. They do contain many seeds of those potato varieties. They can be, but are difficult to germinate, to grow into tubers, into potatoes. It is recommended just to go ahead and buy regular seed potatoes, whether from Wood Prairie Farms or your local potato supplier, and plant them in the spring as you normally do or as we traditionally do. So we're going to start harvesting them, and the best tool to use is a flat tine garden fork. It can be done with a shovel. The advantages to a fork, and it's an investment. Some of these, we got this one for $5 at a yard sale, so you'd want to start there. They can run upwards of $40, but the advantage is you can get around, the soil falls through, the potatoes don't, and you have a lot less chance of piercing or cutting into a potato, but it does happen. So we will first, this is one of our beds, we've got two more. First thing we're going to do is just pull up the top portions of the potatoes just so I can get a better grip here, or a better dig portion on the heel. Pull up some of these weeds, and some of the beds we have weeded, some we have not. So we'll just we've got a mound here, we've got several mounds. So we're going to see what we've got. We've got six different varieties from Wood Prairie Farms. So we'll see what we got here. And see, that's what I talked about. It does happen. We pierced a beautiful, this is an all blue potato, I believe. That's a good sized potato. So that's a bad example from what should not have happened. Let's see if I can get away from doing that again. It's the bottom portion of the plant. Oh, there we go. There's some nice. Now, the one thing you want to be cautious about is these skins are very, very delicate right now. You can see that just by moving the soil, it tore a little bit of the skin away. You want these to, you can eat these right away. There's nothing wrong with them. But if you're going to store them, you kind of want to let them set out a little bit, kind of harden that skin up. And you can also do some really pretty preserving with these. You can pressure can them, and you can mix in the different colors based on the varieties you've got planted in your garden. So, but they do store well even if you don't pressure can them, and they are all tasty in their own and have their own specific flavor. Now you can go ahead and throw the dead tops in your compost pile, but one thing I will caution you is if you believe that you have a disease such as late blight, or you've had early blight like tomatoes do sometimes get, don't put them in your compost pile. But if you feel confident that you're disease free, you can go and throw them in your compost pile and let them finish breaking down. All right, let's see what I got. Oh, there's one. Looks good there. Yep, there's another one. Yeah, the skins are really soft, so you have to be careful here. But you want to fluff this 2 or 3 times, because every time you do it, there's a good chance that there's potatoes that you may have missed. All right, well, that's a little baby one there. All right, so we will go on and move to the, oh, there's another one. See, as I talked, that more of them start to work their way up. All right, so then you just keep going down the row. All right, we got a good amount of potatoes. Now, there's 2 sides of this story. One, we had a number of potatoes here planted. I don't know if we got double what we planted when we started. I don't know if we got a double in return. But I do say that we do have very nice sized potatoes. And the Russian banana fingerlings were very prevalent in the bed that we dug up. So if you have to pick, do you want a lot of potatoes or do you want fewer amount of potatoes but larger potatoes? I'm going to go with the fewer potatoes but larger potatoes. If you followed our program over the years, we've harvested where we had a whole bunch of potatoes, but they're all about the size of large marbles and golf balls. So that's not bad. This is about a C plus-ish on this bed. But now, it's a lot of work to dig potatoes out of the ground. As you see, there's a lot of labor intensive. It is rewarding and fun. But another option is planting in containers, and we've got 2 different types of containers here that we've planted potatoes in. This is a vase, a vase, whatever technical term you want to call it. We planted these on a quick tip real early in the season. We put 1 Russian banana fingerling in this container. We kind of kept it watered. Sometimes we forgot about it. So we're going to see what we ended up with. Oh wow, look at that. That whole thing came out. Oh my. Now remember, we planted one Russian banana fingerling potato in it. About that size is what we put in that vase there. We do have a drain hole in it and some sand. We put it in the bottom for better drainage. That's the seed potato there. There we go. That's so we toss that. So what do we have here just in this vase here? These Russian banana fingerlings are incredibly good when you fry them up in any way that you want to cook them. So 1 Russian banana fingerling. We got, I'm not too upset about that little harvest in a vase that otherwise was going to be not in use at all, and we used it to grow some potatoes in it. So we'll get rid of that, and we'll look at this other one. We'll put these in our harvest bucket. And we will, that's a whole lot easier than digging them out of the ground. So let's look at these here. These were planted the same way. These are, I believe, a blue or, blue variety, I think. That's a whole lot easier than dig out of the ground. Now both of these were filled with certified leaf compost from Hsu's. So here we go. There's 1 potato. I'll put 2 potatoes in this, I believe. All of them are pretty looking potatoes. Let's see what. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. Now you want to, if you've never grown potatoes, there's a nice one there. If you've never grown potatoes, there's a couple of things you want to kind of think about. Some potatoes do grow better in certain climates. So you want to kind of do your research and find out what may grow best in the area that you live in. I think that's all we have. Oh, there's another one. Keep digging through the soil and we keep finding potatoes, so that's a good thing. Based on the climate you live in, some potatoes do grow better than other potatoes in that same climate. Also, you kind of want to do some research and find out, one, what are you going to use your potatoes for? Is it just strictly for eating? Are you preserving? Or what different uses are you using them for? Also, as you can see with the purple potatoes or the blue potatoes here, they're a little darker to see when you have them in the soil. So that may be another factor. If you have vision, you know, you're losing your vision. We all get older, so we all wear glasses and whatnot. But that might be something you want to consider because those are a little harder to see than that russet or the banana fingerling. So something to keep in mind. So with the bed here, the 2 containers, out of 100, I give it about an 80. I'm very pleased with this harvest because of the size, not because of the volume or the quantity, but because of the size of the potatoes. So we'll see if the trend continues in the other 2 beds on the other side of the garden. All right, we just got on our last hill. We're gonna see if anything else is in this pile here. And this one appears to have had only about 1 potato. Now, in these 2 beds here, we had 11 hills at 3 potatoes in each hill. So that's 66 potatoes that we planted, and we didn't get that in return. We got a good half a bucket. I have no idea the weight on that, but you can check the show notes below and we will have listed all the varieties that we planted and what grade we felt that they deserve. We did run into a lot of the Caribbeans, I believe that's one of these, that they were rotted in the ground, so that's obviously one that we will not plant again next year. The all blues did very well, and I have I don't remember what variety that is, but we'll have a grade for all of them. And do keep in mind that the best tool to use is a garden fork. Shovel does work if you are in a container or very loose soil on a raised bed. Obviously your hands are the best tool to use, and just because a variety of potatoes did poorly here in our garden does not mean they will grow poorly in yours. It's based on the type of potato and the growing conditions and what that potato favors over its history. So we're gonna take these potatoes and learn from and eat and enjoy, and we may do things a little different next year, but we did get a better harvest than expected, and they are large potatoes. So we just harvested our potatoes out of this particular bed. Now it's time to calculate what we can put in it. And this can go for once you harvest anything from a bed, but we're looking towards more of garlic. Now this bed is right approximately 36 inches wide by 10 foot long. In addition to our squash bed here, we got powdery mildew we're fighting. This plant is pretty much all but dead. Same here. So what we'll end up doing is at least get part of this bed prepped for garlic. Now we're going to plan for garlic. We plant garlic in the later portions of fall. We typically do it second, third week of October. But we want to calculate, because we do have a lot of Spanish Roja garlic, but we want to increase the different varieties that we grow. So we want to know how much we are capable of growing if we do purchase, because garlic, based on where you buy it, is anywhere from $8 to $22 a half pound, based on how rare or how available that particular variety is. So with 36 inches wide, 10 foot long, we're going to plant these between 8 and 10 inches apart. So that's going to give us approximately 12 bulbs in a row, 3 rows Each row we're going to separate about 8 to 10 inches apart. So you'd have a row, let's say we'd have a row there, then we'd have another row there, we'd have another row there approximately. So you get three rows in here. So you'd have 3 rows there. Over here is 10 foot by 16 inches wide. We're going to make it to where we can get 2 rows of 12 in it. So right here in these 2 beds, now do want to draw caution to when you plant garlic in the fall, these beds are occupied until, based on where you live, for us, we plant it in the 3rd week of October. These beds are occupied until the 2nd week in June. So you can't, expect that, okay, the garlic will grow, then I'll plant tomatoes or peppers or whatever. These beds are occupied until the mid portions of later spring. So we'll have 5 rows of 12, so that would be 60. 5 rows at 12 would be 60 bulbs that we can plant at this particular location. Now we're also going to plant some in the front yard garden at the house. So we've got 60 bulbs here. We figure at the small garden we can get 24 is what we grew this year in the small area we had allotted for it. So we'll just keep adding these numbers up based on what we have available to plant. You want to plant the largest cloves from the largest bulbs that you've harvested, or if you purchase from an online source, or you can trade with other garlic growers. So keep in mind and calculate what you're going to plant so you know what you can plant or you have to purchase to plant.
When doing any home canning or food preserving, you want to make sure you have a canner or something to put your jars in so they properly seal for long-term food storage. When it comes to a basic hot water bath canning, here is your more simple 7-quart or 7-pint canner. It comes with a rack. You want to make sure that your jars are not touching the bottom of the canner because that can cause them to break. So as you can see, it sits nicely in the rack. Here is your 9-quart canner. And then over here we have your pressure canner that is for low acid foods. Unfortunately, this one did not come with a rack, so we took some old canning lids, we wired them together, and now we create a rack for our canner. Pressure canners vary in price and different levels of canners, so make sure you choose one. If you do choose one, you choose one that's right for what you need. Say you don't want to buy a canner, you can simply use a stock pot like so. You do want to fashion some sort of rack. Some people will actually just put old butter knives on the bottom. And you want to make sure that when you put your quart jar in there, that you have about 1 inch or 2 of water above that jar in order to properly seal it. There's some easy and simple helpful tips so that you can make yourself more familiar with canning, and it can be something that you can do more regularly.
So we're in the front yard garden here where we planted a lot of our shallots. We gather them up in the spring, the ones we haven't used, and we just go ahead and continue to plant them. They're organic variety. The variety is unknown, really. We bought them at our local home and garden center several years ago, and we've been reusing them and regrowing them year after year. So what a shallot is, it's a part of the onion family, but it grows similar kind of to a garlic, and I'll explain. A garlic, you put 1 clove in the ground, and you get a whole bulb of, you get 8 or 9 or 10 cloves in that bulb of garlic. You plant one shallot bulb, and you get a cluster of shallots, or a cluster here. You get a cluster of them. We plant one, and then they open up, and you get, for this one, we've got 2, 4, 6 smaller shallots here. Now there's a variety of different types of shallots you can grow. There's giant shallots and there's small shallots, so you can do your research and figure out what may grow best for you or what you may be wanting them. They are a little sweeter than an onion too, but they are a little more, an onion is big and these are relatively small, so you do want to keep that in mind about peeling them if you don't like peeling things like that. Like for this instance here, these are massive shallots, but what has happened is it's a double bulb. Not like you get a double bloom on an onion. There's actually, I can feel there's two bulbs in there. So this really should have been a 4 bulb top here, but we only have 2, which is fine. So that's something. Now if your ground is real hard, obviously our good friend the garden fork works best for this application. You want to harvest them. They're kind of like onions. When you see the tops fall down like this, they're ready to go ahead and harvest. You can let them dry fully in the garden before you harvest them, But you do that, you want to make sure you remember where they're at, because when they die back, you're not going to see any bulb growth at all, or any top growth, because they will dry all the way back to the bulb that's buried underground in most cases. So we've got 2 different batches here. This is growing up in the tomatoes there. We've got some back here, and then we've got some over there that we'll harvest. That's another double bulb. And with the soil being moist here, I say that I need the fork to loosen this clod up right here. There we go. All right, what do we have here? We've got very nice shallots here. That's about the average size. That's a little smaller than a golf ball, but we've got a number of different sizes there. And these are very sweet, really nice to throw in with when you're cooking in different dishes. So let's go over and look at some of the other ones that we've got another patch here of about, well, we initially planted about 2 dozen shallots here in our jungle of deal. And you can see there's a 4 there, there's a double there. So we will go ahead and leave these and let these dry. We do need some for cooking, so we'll take some of these and go ahead and use them. Now, if you do harvest them this early, they're kind of like garlic. You want to let them cure or dry. Well, basically like onions, you let them dry, and then you can store them for winter storage. So you can harvest them at any point during the growing season, but we'll just take these and use what we need, and then let the other ones dry and cure so we can properly store them. And then the ones we don't use over the winter, we will go ahead and reincorporate those into our planting for next spring, so we can keep having a supply of shallots available for us to use. Thanks for watching. Join us again next time for more organic gardening and food preserving. I'm Joey Baird, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewwisconsinvegetablegardener.com.